The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Now, the author of The Path of Least Resistance and the Tech Insider, David White.
Welcome, there I am, and welcome to a beautiful March 18th. The 18th. Shouldn't be ST, it should be TH, shouldn't it? Anyway, today, on this day in 1852, in New York City, Henry Wells and William Fargo joined several other investors to launch their namesake business, Wells Fargo. What they do, they started taking all kinds of manner of money back from the gold mines in California and basically made a coast-to-coast delivery system and banking system. And, of course, they're still in business today. And what can you say? Just a long time ago, and mostly had to do with shipping a lot of cash back and forth, some of it by the old wagon stagecoach. And I guess we'll always be thankful to them for that, because now everybody can yell, "I got shotgun." Dibs on shotgun. All the shotgun reference out there. So what do we have today in our market? Well, it is one of those markets that you just know that the fix is in, and of course it was today. Yesterday, the Cypriot government decided that they were going to take the easy way out and take 10% out of every bank account that had over 100,000 euros. Well, there's about $20 billion in money, just from the Russians, probably another $10 billion also. So they're going to end up with about $3 or $4 billion by taking 10% off of everything over the $100,000 floor and giving it to the EU and paying off their debts, and they can remain part of the EU that way. I'm just wondering how long it is before we start seeing some of these both bankers and politicians shot in the street. Russian oligarchy guys that have thousands of killers on their payroll. I don't know if that's a wise thing to do. I haven't heard anybody really bring it up. But the question I have is are they willing to let somebody just take 10% of their money and not do a thing? I mean, certainly these aren't the Russian mafia that I know in the movies. Now, maybe they're just a bunch of lovable, squeezable guys, but somehow every time I see them depicted, no one says a word about that's not the Russians I know. The Russians I know are busy down there at the VA, helping out our wounded, or you never see them building a new house for somebody. Normally, the Russians they're pretty much focused on themselves. So, Bajolista, if anybody knows any Russian out there, I knew a little bit of it. Bajolista and Spasiba. I used to know a whole bunch of Russian, but it fades like everything with age out there. But the question is whether or not it's going to go through. They're basically delaying the vote now till Thursday, so this thing's going to go on, or if it goes on at all. But the whole idea from the Cypriot point of view was we're not going to cough up no $5 billion. We'd rather throw the entire banking sector into chaos and extend the middle finger to the people that are telling us to give or get out of the euro. And a little bit of this is a little payback. I don't think that anybody in the Cypriot government didn't have a good idea of who was going to squeal the loudest. The only thing I can't figure out is if they didn't think that there wouldn't be any repercussions when you steal $20 billion from a bunch of cutthroat Russians. So I don't know. It's this is going to be very interesting to see how this does work out. But of course, we were off over 100 points on the S&P, on the Dow. We were off 15, 18 points on the S&P around the early morning. it is pretty much paired all those losses. See what kind of volume we have. If there wasn't the Cypriot news today, they would have made something else up. This is the first day of options expiration. We are off 5 points on the S&P cash. Volume's pretty light, 2 billion shares. We had a lot of volume on Friday. Normally, options expiration takes anywhere from a day to 2 days to fully roll over. And normally they'll try to push it down, then they'll try to push it up. We are going into 2 days of FOMC meetings. So again, I think we're probably going to have light volume for the next 2 days. And if you didn't buy something and already sell it, probably not a lot of volatility between now and, let's say, probably Wednesday afternoon. So going to be a quiet first part of this week. Then we'll be once again off to the races. I suspect we're going to start seeing a lot more volatility in the marketplace. We had, crude off. We had a lot of other things. We had gold up. And almost all of this was a byproduct of the Cypriot deal. Let's see if I can get that back up. I'm looking for a few things out here to see. We actually did have... natural gas is kind of in the very ended stages of its pop, up another 1.5% on UNG today. But a lot of it you can probably put, let's see if I can get what I'm looking up here for now. Last I saw, gold was at 1605. At 1604.20 right now. I'm going to have to look at it during the break. 1608 would have been, if you are thinking that we are headed back down again, 1608 on the gold contract probably would have been the place to place your short. Maybe it was up there a little earlier. I'll have to look at during the break. But that's pretty much it. We talked a little bit about Apple last week and that it had set up a bottom. I'm not a particular fan of Apple. I think this is just a bounce in a downtrend. And it may need more movement to get to the 380, 390 price point. If you didn't listen to my Tech Insider Hour on Friday night, my theory on why it bounced and started to bounce was the belief that Samsung was going to come out with their unbreakable displays. They did not show that. If you search for it on YouTube, you can see a demonstration of the flexible, non-breakable displays. They're calling it, in the trademark, YOUM, Y-O-U-M, and there's a CES demonstration the first part of January. So a lot of people thought that maybe Samsung was going to kick this out. It may be another 3-6 months down the line before they do get it out, but very little that Apple will have to do. So if we're getting a bounce now, I suspect it is short-lived. Could we get back up to 484? Yeah, I suspect that we're probably going to find a wall of sellers somewhere around 465, 470, and that's where I'd be out of this bounce. The risk-reward gets pretty poor after that unless we start seeing some kind of nice volume. I'm not really seeing that today. Anything above 435 still has you on a basically a cover signal for being short. But to me, it's a business that has not shot right in a while, and until they start turning around the momentum from them to Android, I still don't like them a lot. Boeing lost a big deal today, and we may have had the end of the spike on Friday. It was about 254 planes, the biggest single order ever from Lion Airlines for Airbus planes, and maybe that's why we're off a little bit and all the other stuff. But I suspect it's because Boeing just can't deliver the planes. We've talked about it, so they've got a good 5-year backlog on the planes they've got ordered now. There's no reason to ever short Boeing, even if somebody cancels. There's going to be 20 people behind them in multiple years, and then they'll make yet another order. Their planes are 20% more fuel efficient than the Airbus, and if you just can't get one, then that's one thing. Probably why the big order from Airbus, and probably the thought that Airbus is going to slowly upgrade their planes with the General Electric motors, which are good for about 10% of the fuel efficiency. And maybe over time they're going to figure out how to make the composites like Boeing did and change some other things to get the other 10%. But still looks like it's going to be problematic out there. Boeing Airlines, it's back at that $85 range. This would probably be a nice one if we are setting up some kind of decent breakout. We should have seen some volume, and I mean significant volume as we went through the $80 mark. We haven't really seen that, so I suspect we're probably coming back into that $78 to $80 mark fairly good. If it comes down a lighter volume, then maybe that sets something up. I think a lot of this move on Boeing was a huge short interest based on the thought that they were never going to get these 787s back into the air. I think they pretty much got the FCC seal of approval, and we'll see how it goes from there. And I wanted to see what else do we have. Wanted to talk about IPOs this week. We're going to have several. Some of them are REITs. I can't even say it. AVIV, which is a REIT specializing in acute and long-term care, basically a long-term place to go to die, kind of like a hospice. AVIV. Anyway, that's a symbol to AVIV. Be coming out, plans to raise $251 million, offering 13.2 million shares at a price range of $18 to $20. Cancer Genetics is going to be CGIX out this week. Genomic test to improve diagnostic treatment of cancer is going to raise $18 million, so non-event. Tenga Pharmaceuticals, another one coming out this week, $60 million, blah. Five Seasons Oak Investments is a big REIT. It's going to be $86 million. Again, a lot of these are just very tiny. HF2 Financial Management, $153 billion. It's going to be HTWO. Marin Software, $84 million. Model N, $87 million. Tetraphase Pharmaceutical, $75 million. West Corporation plans to raise $500 million. So we finally got a winner, somebody that's actually going out to raise real cash, not just kind of startup seed money. And they're going to raise 21.1 million shares at a range of 22 to 25. Look for that on Thursday. That's probably going to be the big one of the week. Symbol is going to be a WSTC, and it's a conference and call center provider. So a lot more call center business back in the United States. They're out of Omaha. They have a lot of their call centers set up there. If you need 1,000 people to answer the phone in 5 minutes, you call them up and write them a check. There's going to be somebody reading a script back to you, a human, or maybe you need to call somebody and let them know about something. But probably the only one that's worth something in there, and I wouldn't be buying it either way, but that's West Corporation. So a week of weak IPOs and one strong one, but for the most part, nothing going on out there. We'll be back in a minute and start looking at some more charts and some of the movers out here.
What type of investor are you? Conservative, moderate, or aggressive? No matter your investor personality, your overall portfolio should reflect your financial goals, time horizon, and your risk tolerance. Help ensure your portfolio is appropriately invested with an asset allocation plan from Morgan Stanley Wealth Management. Simply picking the right stocks is not enough. Research has shown that choosing the right proportions of stocks, bonds, and cash is essential to the success of your long-term investments. Morgan Stanley believes a carefully selected portfolio can lower volatility and increase investment return potential. Find out about what an asset allocation and a Morgan Stanley Wealth Management financial advisor can do for you. Call Angela O'Brien, First Vice President and Financial Planner of the Clearwater, Florida branch at 727-441-6108 today to discuss your personal financial needs. Asset allocation does not assure a profit or protect against loss in declining financial markets. Investments and services are offered through Morgan Stanley Wealth Management, LLC. Member SIPC.
with the launch of Tiger TV. TFNN has brought our programming to the next level. With Tiger TV, you can gain access to each host's charts and computer screens as they host their daily stock program. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Ken Shreve, David White, Larry Pesavento, Victor Jones, or Carol Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV for your viewing pleasure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't checked out Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com and see what you're missing.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investment strategy. You're always looking for the next trading opportunity to magnify your perspective. Direction Shares connects sophisticated traders with a powerful array of ETFs from a wide range of asset classes. The markets may go up and down, and you want tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
McEwen Mining is a high-growth, mid-tier producer in the Americas with a market capitalization of $1 billion. Experienced mining executive Rob McEwen, as chairman, CEO, and president, owns 25% of the outstanding shares of McEwen Mining and has put in place an ambitious business plan with the goal of qualifying for inclusion in the S&P 500 by 2015. With $70 million in cash and liquid assets as of the end of 2012 and completely debt-free, McEwen Mining is poised for growth. Production in 2013 is forecasted to grow at 24%, reaching 130,000 gold equivalent ounces, and over the next 3 years, McEwen Mining projects that their production will increase to 290,000 gold equivalent ounces, almost a threefold increase from last year's totals. If you'd like to find out more about McEwen Mining, click on their banner on the front page of TFNN.com or check them out on the NYSE or TSX under the symbol MUX.
This segment is brought to you by Goldfields. For more information, just click the Goldfields banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Expedia came off the top with volume, and it's not that long ago, on the 6th of February. Came down 8.6, almost 8.7 million shares on that 6th of February, which pretty much came off of the top with high volume. We came back and basically touched that gap on Friday with 1.6 million shares. Pretty much a little reversal today out here. It's consolidating around this $65 range. Part of this may be a finalization of an acquisition they had, but not a lot of stuff moving out here, but this one that looked fairly interesting. Intuitive Surgical, ISRG. This has become the political football du jour. If you missed me talking about it last week, there are a bunch of surveys coming out. The Orwellian named Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, is in deep trouble, at least according to the Congressional Budget Office, who suspects that to actually make the numbers work, that premiums will have to double next year in the first year of it, which it fully starts in 2014. One of the things that a lot of these surveys and other things are designed now that the government's pushing out and several government entities are looking at is where they can start to cut costs. Intuitive Surgical sells these little devices that are robotic surgeons. It's kind of like if you've ever seen it, it's had had your eyes checked. They've got the little kind of thing you look through, and they better or worse, and they flip things back and forth. You kind of look through something like that and then have two joysticks, one in each hand, and you make very, very tiny movements with them. But, if your hand trembles a little bit, no big deal. You can program in the actual surgery, how it needs to be cut. So they basically had a organization that represents the people behind the Affordable Care Act. And they got them to come out and basically yell and scream and say that they were worthless last week. Now we have a bunch of surgeons coming out today saying, hey, not so fast. I think it's a wonderful device, and it, basically helps. And, I don't have to worry about accidentally cutting too far, and it does it almost perfectly, much better than a human. And whether or not that $1.5 million device is worth it. So it's the political football that always comes about when politics meets the private and free market. And we'll have to continue going through that. One thing we do have is a super high volume low, so that 455 is most likely going to get tested again. I suspect this is a trend that you're going to see through the rest of the year, and that is anybody that's making any kind of real money in this area, especially in healthcare, is probably going to find these surveys and then some political action committee more than willing to trounce them and either cut their margins or try to get rid of them altogether. There is no way the United States has anywhere close to the amount of money to give everybody the kind of health care that we have been getting. So you have two choices, really. Few people get it, or basically everybody goes on a what do you call it, rationing of health care. And that's the way it's worked in every other country that it started. You wait 6 months for a heart attack operation. I have always told the story of that I knew the health care blew in Canada, because every single one of my partners up there had a deal where they could step right across the border in Windsor and actually get immediate health care, even though they got free health care from Canada. In fact, when one of them had to have a heart operation, he came to our place in Cincinnati because we'd set up health care for them there too. If they needed major health care, they could come down to a great hospital in downtown Cincinnati. And they did. They came down there, and he had his heart surgery in Cincinnati because we would have had to wait 4 to 6 months in Canada. That was probably, later 90s, mid 90s, something like that. But I had also been in England too, and unfortunately, I think we'll have to learn the hard way that getting the government involved probably not the best idea ever. The one I like the best is, or the quote I like the best is from P.J. O'Rourke, and that was, if you think medical care is expensive now, just wait until it's free. Anyway, we'll be back in a minute. Anyway, just make sure that you either have some pretty close stops in, or maybe you buy some downside protection if you're chasing these medical stocks. But I suspect we're going to see a lot more pressure over the next year to cut a lot of costs, and that means profit out of these particular companies. We'll be back in a minute.
Just recently, on December 28th, Market Insight subscribers were advised to go long the QQQ, the NASDAQ 100 ETF, on December 28th at $63.91. And only 2 trading days later, after a huge jump in the markets, Market Insight subscribers were advised to sell the QQQ at $66.64 for a $2.73 or 4.27% profit to start off 2013. At the same time, Tom O'Brien had advised his clients looking for a more leveraged trade that they could have initiated a position in the QLD, the ProShares Ultra QQQ ETF, and over the same 2 trading days, Market Insight subscribers were able to lock in a $4.48 profit or an 8.47% gain in just 1 trade. Get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during your free trial and pay nothing. Don't miss out on the next great trading opportunity in 2013. Act today. TFNN legend Bud Rolfs has come out of retirement to bring you a special report and a one-time only webinar that will show you what's going to happen in the markets over the next 4 years. Bud Rolfs is the former chief technical analyst of the Tiger Trading Post at TFNN and is a true market innovator who has taught thousands of students how to read charts and be more successful traders. Don't miss this chance to learn from a TFNN legend and get this timely market advice that will put you on the right side of the market for the next major move. Plus, he'll show you his expert analysis on the current major markets and explain the technical setup that is predicting a move of over 50%. We're offering this one-of-a-kind special package for only $179, and the moment that you sign up, you'll gain access to Bud's 11-page executive summary where he provides you with the keys to his market call and prepares you for his live 90-minute webinar on March 21st. Don't miss this one-of-a-kind offer. Sign up today on the front page of TFNN.com. Daryl Martin coined the phrase diagnostic trading, and we're happy to announce that his diagnostic box spread analyzer has finally been released. The Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer helps you easily identify the best box spreads on Nadex in seconds, plus you receive access to the diagnostic deviation levels, as well as step-by-step training videos teaching you how to trade Nadex spreads so you can quickly master the mechanics of this simple yet powerful trading instrument. By pulling live data from the Nadex exchange, the Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer does all the math for you, calculating risk, reward potential, distance to break even for both outright spreads and spreads used to hedge the underlying market. Visit the front page of TFNN.com today to get your 2-week free trial to Daryl Martin's Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer and gain access to the valuable information it can provide when trading the Nadex box spreads. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Crocodile Gold. For more information, just click the Crocodile Gold banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're off just a little under 3 points on the S&P cash, 2.2 billion shares on the consolidated New York Stock Exchange tape. Could have been a lot worse. It certainly would have been that this summer. We're a little up in some of the bigger stocks out here today. $11.70 in Apple. Facebook is off 3 cents. Microsoft's up 18 cents. Intel's off 4 cents. That's pretty much it. We've got some stocks kind of bouncing around here, but not a lot to hang your head on. We continue to see, I would say lethargy. It's just a very quiet market out here, and very few people are afraid of this market. In fact, they can't wait for one little dip to get back in, and that always makes me 100 times more nervous than a market that people are at least thinking that could go down. I guess with the Fed out there, the question is, will it? What the discussion will be on Wednesday at 1 o'clock as to whether or not it's going to be sooner rather than later that they quit the bond purchases. I would suspect that interest rates going up over the last week to 10 days has also decided to put in a little bit of hitch out there in what they're doing, even though bond numbers have been okay. Of course, the big number out here today that hasn't really seen itself responded to let me see if I can find it here, is the dollar. Up strongly, 37, almost 38 cents today. The belief is that Eurozone banks may be thought not as safe as they once were, and cash would become rolling into the dollar. At 82.86 for the dollar index right now. What are we thinking? Or at least what am I thinking? Things probably going to 84 and then to 88, 87, high 87, low 88s over the summer. It may take a slow drift. Suspect that we'll continue to see additional monetary action from all the different governments, but I think unless you get into war with Japan right now, there's probably not anything that can keep them from continuing to print as fast as the machines will let them fly. In fact, they probably don't even print it anymore, do they? They just add a zero to some account and says, we've got a lot more yen today. But what can you say? We're going to get into some stocks here. And what I wanted to look at was Google. Google is coming back down into a support range, a consolidation range. That range started on the 19th of February and pretty much ran to the 1st of March, right around this $800 level. Not a lot of volume today as it pulls back into that level. You did have a nice sign of strength when this thing came up on the 4th of March. You had decent volume, 2.7, almost 2.8 billion shares. Another little gap. It's come back, filled all those. The question is whether or not this thing's headed back into the bigger gap between 700 and 730. As a 705 to 735 maybe. That huge gap down, it's probably going to get back into that range on any market weakness. A lot of money been made in Google out here. It wouldn't be a big deal for this thing just to come back and start a consolidation range between that 705 to 844 range, and then maybe this fall break out and hit $1,000. But certainly it looks like there isn't a lot of yelling and screaming up at this level. Nice level volume pullback, except on Friday when volume peaked, but wasn't a huge movement in the actual price. So I'm going to chalk it up to options expiration, at least on some level. Look at some other stocks out here testing highs. Probably the one that was most interesting to me this morning was the Material Select sector, XLB. We did come and test the previous high. That previous high came on January 25th, 39.87 with 7.2 million shares. We got into it with 5.9 million shares. It did go above it. It closed below it. It's kind of been playing around, but it pretty much on a sell signal at the moment. And you can see a nice range back to 37, 35. But Select Materials sector, see, let's get the contents for it, just so I can make sure and tell you. Where's the little contents holdings here? Okay. Monsanto, Dow Chemical, BD, or DOW, Praxair, Freeport-McMoRan, LyondellBase, is it Basel? Ecolabs, International Paper, PPG Industry, and Air Products and Chemicals are the top 10 holdings. That's about 64% of all their assets. So as an index, not a bad look up here with not much volume today. I suspect that we're probably going to test the all-time high in the S&P on Wednesday afternoon with the announcement out at the Fed. And that's probably going to be when we're going to be looking to either take a position on the breakout or maybe even a short position if it fails to. But I think we'll probably have a pretty good idea that we're going to see at least an attempt to blow out the all-time highs on Wednesday afternoon after the Fed comes out, barring any other big news in the markets. But, if this thing can't really move after what we saw in Cyprus and another banking scare, I think everybody is just going to be very, very complacent over the next few days. Let me update this as we go through some of the other stuff out here. What do we have? 2.3 volumes. Yeah, I think we're just pretty much stuck here for the moment. Other things I wanted to look at, stocks. Oceaneering International, OII is the symbol on this. Pretty clear sell signal, and you've got to love it when you get these nice little dojis on almost 1/4 of the volume of the previous high, and that was the February 14th high that came on 2 million shares. We got into it on Friday with 680,000 shares, pulled back into it, so probably not a bad deal. This would not be a bad stock to come back and test the breakout level. Probably the biggest thing I dislike about this one is it never really had a huge sign of strength all the way up until that monstrous candle on the 14th of February that set that first high. But kind of an engineering company. Hog, of course, right now we've got probably the highlight of motorcycle dumb in Daytona, Florida. It is Bike Week when 400 to 500,000 bikers come down and descend in Florida. It's been kind of a cool Florida for them. Normally it's a little warmer, a little lighter. It's been cloudy and spent in a little bit of rain. Hadn't been horrible, but hadn't been warm. We did a pretty good signal on this one. Did close higher on Friday. It's back into the trading range today. HOG is a symbol, but we had our last major high on January 29th with 3.5 million shares. That came at $54.62. We went almost a buck over that, 55.51 on Friday. Only 1.6 million shares, so less than 50% into that new high. It is closed back into that range. HGG, which is H.H. Gregg, kind of like a Best Buy. I've never been in one. I don't think that. Are there any around here? H.H. Gregg? There is? Never been into one. Clearwater Mall. Well, that's why. But they're like a Best Buy, right? Okay. Talking to our engineer Sans golf hat on there today. Guess the golf hat's only allowed to wear those on Friday, I guess. Is that? Looks like Friday is normally when they come in. This has been going into a longer gap, and that gap came down on monstrous high volume on 7/11 of last year, and that was 6.8 million shares. We've been coming back into this with this incredibly light volume. If this thing was a $30 stock, I'd probably be shorting it. No reason to short this now, but just kind of a nice long pull back up into this high. But this run for this stock, very, very long in the tooth. D.H. Horton, another one that's been working around these highs. Very interesting to see what it did on Friday, and that is it came and tested its previous high on very light volume, closed back below it. It is back below it again. Yet today, the last high on it was the February 12th high, $24.66, 10 million shares. I got into it with 6.2 million shares on Friday, and did close below it. But what did a good dime higher. So a good test of that top for D.H. Horton. Now, a lot of those stocks just very, very tired. We've got plenty of time left in the show, so you can give me a call, 877-927-6648. That's 877-927-6648. And we'd love to hear about it. Let's see if we got anything going on. Just reading something in the den here to see if it has anything. A little bit on me, which is why isn't the KGB down there shooting everybody in Cyprus, which is what I figured would happen. And that nothing's really happened so far is kind of interesting. Of course, it's probably nighttime there, and all the Russian hitmen haven't made it to Cyprus quite yet. Kind of interesting. Cyprus is kind of the Cold War version of what was that movie that Humphrey Bogart was in? Casablanca, where all the spies were rolling around. Cyprus has always had that kind of image of, 007 running through the town and everything else. But what can you say? D.H. Horton, one of the other stocks has finally filled its huge gap down that started with monstrous volume. Cheniere Energy, CQP. At least it's back into that gap. Of course, it's had a challenge of leadership with the CEO accused of a lot of things, which apparently all either couldn't be proven were not true at all. That started on September 20th of last fall, 6.5 million shares that day. And we're coming back into it. But again, a very light volume as a lot of these stocks come back and fill these previous gaps. But when we're looking at volume of less than 500,000 shares over the last 3 days, I don't suspect we're going to see a lot more pushback up in here. But very interesting. Other stocks of interest is ABT. Maybe too bouncy out here to actually see. Did get a test on Friday, and it is back into this trading range. It has not tested the high, though. Still about 15 cents short. ABB Limited, is symbol is ABB. Still needs to get to $23.37. But did try that. Was certainly a few dimes short. And a lot of times at the highs, that's all you get. But 2.1 to 1.2 million on Friday just wasn't enough. It is pulled back into the trading range. I could see this fairly easily getting back into that 22.50 to 22.20 range out here. So, what can we say? Let's see what we have for last week and see how some of these stocks that were giving signals last week did. Zoltec, Zynga. Wanted to see how Zynga did. Got to a high of $4.03 on the last. It tried kind of an ABC test up. This thing went right back up into its larger gap, and that. Let's see if I can get back up here. I need to get to Zynga here. There we go. Zynga, of course, came down on that horrible news on what was it, June 26th. Or July 26th. It would be June 26th of last year. It came down on almost 100 million shares. It's been slowly trying to fill that gap. Last time it got to $3.75 on 90 million shares. We got above that with 76 million shares and a little bit of reversal. Let's see what we have up here. And 90 million shares. Not that bad on the 11th of March. Kind of interesting. But it has pulled back into the trading range. Look for this thing to consolidate. I'd be looking at this thing again at maybe sub $3 level as it consolidates. I think a lot of people jumped the gun on whether or not Zynga was going to be getting into this trade based on everybody signing documents and everybody be playing poker tomorrow. Probably going to take a 6 to 9 month lead, or maybe even a year before we find anybody actually making any money off of this whatsoever. But maybe just a reprieve of the tombstone for Zynga. Let's see what else we have out here. Weight Watchers, we talked about that. I want to see how this thing's doing. Again, light volume at the lows. Well, we'll be talking about this when we come back. Weight Watchers symbol is a WTW. Give me a call at 877-927-6648. That's 877-927-6648. And we'll find out what Weight Watchers doing. But one of the better ones out here. I probably could use a little Weight Watchers. But couldn't we all? Be back in a minute.
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pesavento's new trading newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the Forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session on trading. You'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you just the edge you've been looking for. Try Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to tfnn.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
Tom O'Brien's weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, has helped subscribers for over 10 years navigate the high-risk world of exploring and producing gold companies. And now's a great time to sign up for a free month-long trial to see the kind of insight that Tom delivers for his subscribers on a weekly basis. Every Monday, Tom O'Brien issues a quick update on the metal market, giving you his take on the HUI, XAU, GLD, dollar, bonds, and much more. Tom follows Monday's update with a full gold report, which is delivered to subscribers Tuesday afternoon with detailed coverage of 24 separate gold or metal stocks, as well as another 10 to 15 stocks that he lets you know are on his potential watch list. Get your month-long free trial to the Gold Report today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Don't spend another year navigating the metal markets on your own. Act early in 2013 and make the most of your gold and metal market investments. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Let me tell you something, folks. I have people coming up to me saying, I just can't believe the amount of work that Steve does on his newsletter. And I says, I absolutely agree.
That is a recent clip from the Money Masters show that Tom and I do each day at TFNN. My newsletter service, Mastering Probability, is much, much more than a newsletter. Yes, it's outperformed the S&P 500 by 100% during the last 15 months. But more importantly, it's an extraordinary education, a roadmap for your success. And it's yours risk-free for the next 30 days. Just go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on my name, Steve Rhodes, and then Mastering Probability, because everyone needs a success strategy. For most, it's a competitive edge, the will to win, the drive to overcome any obstacle. Whatever you call it, winners find a way. Find your way to Mastering Probability today, because your journey to extraordinary rewards is just one click away.
This segment is brought to you by BackTech Environmental. For more information, just click the BackTech banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And the markets are kind of flat. Probably going to be another of these days where we have a couple-point move before the end of the day. I suspect we're going to close at 1558 probably on the S&P cash. We're probably going to bounce between there and 1555 and 1560 between now and Wednesday afternoon. I don't see anything really that could move this market besides the Fed, and that's going to be Wednesday afternoon at 1 o'clock and 1:15 normally, and then we're going to find out. Had somebody in the den want to talk about Glue Mobile. If you'd like me to cover a stock, you can always email me at path@tfnn.com. And if you get it to me before noon, normally I'll have enough time to bring it in and set it up and maybe even remember it. But Glue Mobile, kind of interesting little stock. This thing had been basing out, and if you want to look at a pattern that works well, especially in these penny stocks, Glue Mobile is the pattern you look at. Nice pop down. I would have loved to have seen this thing test its low on a lighter volume, and you certainly had a whole long consolidation here for what was it since November till now, and 3 months a lot of times is enough to get these things moving. What happened with Glue Mobile is there's a huge rumor pushed by Seeking Alpha that this is a buyout candidate from Zynga. They're pushing a $10 price tab on Glue Mobile. I don't know how many people believe that $10 mark, but could they buy them for $3? Yeah. If I was Zynga, would I buy them? Not a chance. They need to keep as much capital as they have up. But what does Glu Mobile make? They make a lot of mobile games. Let's see what it is. Big Time Gangsta, Blood and Glory, Bug Village, Contract Killa, Contract Killa 2 Zombies, Eternity Warriors, Frontline Commando, Gun Brothers, Men and Machines, Stardom, the A-List, Super KO Boxing, games on licensed annual intellectual property consisting of Build Lot, Call of Duty, Deer Hunter, JD Hero, Guitar Hero, Family Feud. Anyway, these guys are into all kinds of mobile gaming. And the question is whether or not they get together with Zynga. But this thing's probably into fairly heavy resistance now for anybody on the upside wanting to get their cash back. The huge volume day down for this one happened on November 9th with 19 million shares. And again, we have more than that as we go through that today. But we're going to probably see a lot of congestion back in this thing. I don't know a lot about Glu Mobile and whether Zynga would buy them, but I have to say, if I'm Zynga, I'm holding on to every dime. I'm not going to go throw money around here at these levels where I might have to reissue stock just because I've done that. But you know, when you get a stock like this, it's been highly shorted for a while. You had a chance to get out of it at the lows. A lot of people probably thinking it was going to zero, which too many shorts do. They should have been covering a long time ago. You get a nice short squeeze out here like the last 4 or 5 days, and that's pretty much it. Well, we're getting ready to wrap up the show. Just remember that you can give me, if you don't want to go on the air, you can give me a email at path@tfnn.com if you'd like me to cover your stock and maybe make a little comment or two about it. Today I had a special report from the Tech Insider. For those people that get the Tech Insider, they know that I've been following graphene, and one of the first neat commercializations of graphene was released last Thursday. I wrote a little special report about it, and I think it's going to be interesting, but I think, at least for the world population, it is a groundbreaking issue, and me personally, I think I'll be benefiting from this in the not too distant future. But a special report out there. You can always sign up for a free 2-week trial at tfnn.com on the front page. Catch you tomorrow.